What is hip-hop?
Yeah.
It's the heartbeat of the people, a culture devised of lyricists, poets, and beatmakers. And it's here in the Bronx where it was born and raised. Kevin Toledo, also known as Advice, is one such artist keeping hip-hop alive and well.
Is there more to life aside the surface that we live in? The age of information.
This is his story.
Ignorance is bliss, we stuck in cycles that we've been in.
And
Our views
this
don't ever change, we all
is
divided in our
B-sides.
vision. The tension and the friction leave no space for intermission. We never get the break and only caught up in the distance. Defining our own limits cause we stuck within our pain. Perception is what's missing when we blind in disarray. Our patience running thin, it's so hard to be okay. I only speak in general cause self I do include. At times I'm in my feelings but projected being rude. But no matter what's the matter, need to find some space and tune. The madness gets us madder but the change begins with you. Yeah, I said the change begins with you. Yeah, the madness gets us madder but the change begins with you. Yeah, feels like I'm running out of time to let my words be known. Word. Feels like I'm running out of time to let my words be known. Yeah, feels like I'm running out of time to let my words be known. Word. Feels like I'm running out of time to let my words be known. Yeah. What's it gonna take to plant the seed and watch it grow? Saying that you'll change, but it hardly ever shows. Baby steps to make it proves that we still got to grow. I'm asking all these questions cause the answer hardly known. Depression leaves us sinking, but we hardly ever know. She tell me that she love me, but it hardly ever shows. I see it in the nose, growing long Pinocchio. I've been hurt, I've been scared, I've been troubled, and I know the shit that I've endured is like accepting that I'm poor. The shit that I've endured is like, how can I go for more? I always was the shortest. So
This is where I grew up, 167 West Farms Road. I spent like most of my adolescence and my childhood on this block, in this building, with my family, learning how to ride my bike around here, and just documenting something. Yeah. How you, man? Yo, shout yourself out, tell them who you are and shit, where you from, what it's like over here and all that shit. Yeah.
Dutchy, man.
What's good, man?
I'm a producer, you feel me? I'm right up the block, you feel me?
Right.
Manager Danny Wolf and shit. I got songs with Kevin Gates and shit, Block Boy JB. You know, I got a couple things over here.
This shit,
man. This shit is cool out here, you know. I'll just be going to studios and shit, you know, cooking up and shit. I got a couple songs with him.
He's a young lord out here. He's a young god out here. He's making it happen. He's been making it happen for a very long time. And I grew up here. You know, we know each other since I was toddler, man. So you know what it is? Yeah, exactly. So you know, the energy out here has always been different. And it's a part of me and a part of who I am, and this is why I wanted to come here and just show what it's like, you know, because this is really the Bronx and a part of the Bronx too, and it's a part of where I came up. My first serious verse where I like recorded it and all that, because I always like rap since like probably like middle school, since probably like a kid, dude. Like I just love hip-hop music. My one older brother, he's 7 years older than me, so he always played like Eminem in the house and like Big Pun, Big L. Like it was just like that was the music that I grew up listening to. But when I first wrote my first rhyme was probably around like For Your Eyes Only, J.Cole. I was very heavily inspired by the last track on there. It's like a 10-minute track, when he tells his story about like I think his brother or something like that, and that just inspired me to write my first bar. So that was like probably like 2015. I was always writing poetry, and then like it just, you know, I just got inspired to start writing rhymes, and that was what really inspired me to write my first rhyme.
Nice.
Yeah.
When you first wrote your first verse to J. Cole, did you also look at those writing styles from artists that influenced him? Like artists that like, you know, like a Nas, like a Jay-Z.
I definitely like studied a lot of like the older heads. Like I think around that time, like I would say, like I got put on to J.Cole, and he was like inspiring me since like high school, like sophomore year. Like I was listening to like his first mixtapes and all that stuff, and I don't know, like I said, it all started out as like poetry. Like it was more like a form of venting. So I wouldn't say like I really like studied them and like try to emulate their stuff, but it was just more like I felt inspired by what they were saying in their music and all that stuff. And I guess like more so helped me kind of like pen down my story in a way. You know what I'm saying? Like if anything, like it inspired me in that sense. Yeah.
What I find interesting is that we had spoken to Brian Duryea, and he also mentioned before, fantastic.
Excellent.
He also said before he got into music, he wrote poetry. Right. He was a poet.
Right.
And those similarities, going into an alternative R&B and going into, rap and hip hop, two different branches, but it's the same stem. And I think that's the most beautiful aspects of music. Yeah, that's fantastic.
Yeah, it's really just like finding your way to express yourself. You know what I'm saying?
That's right.
Like, I think I more so honed that before feeling like inspired or like wanting to like kind of like, study someone else's flow or something like that. You know what I'm saying? Like I feel like I found my way of expressing myself as an artist, and I think that's like the main thing that kind of even makes artists who they are. You know what I'm saying? It's like the way they express themselves. You know what I'm saying? Like what is unique. And I, as a hip hop head, like I want to be unique. I want to be kind of like original in the way I go about like my music.
Do you feel that you are entitled to kind of like help others when you get on that mic? You start writing that pen and paper.
I mean, it's funny you say that because, like I said, like I feel like me as an artist is definitely like an extension of like my experiences in life.
Yeah.
And a big experience of my life was, I guess, like my professional side, where I went to school for social work and I learned all this stuff about mental health. And then I was like working with all these different populations, from like developmentally disabled people, homeless families, and street homeless people. Now I'm at a middle school and I'm a counselor at a middle school, but I also worked at like group homes and stuff like that. So I've always taken on a role to kind of like give a piece of myself to other people and try to help people cope and console and all that stuff. And the way that I kind of did that for myself is through music. Music is kind of like my outlet. So I definitely like make my music being mindful of like how other people feel and knowing that other people could probably resonate. But I also like keep it very like personal too, because I go through stuff too. And, just like everybody else does. So, and I just hope to kind of, turn whatever life experience I go through into like music and art, and hope that like people, that digest it, like understand it for that too,
There definitely is a change in hip hop, in the rap community, whether it's independent or mainstream. The concepts are changing, the way it's being performed is changing. You have, people like Lil Nas X, you have all these different kinds of artists coming out, and it's kind of changing the genre. It's kind of either opening up something new or we don't know. But with your music, it does bring back something familiar, something more close to home. It gives me vibes of, a little bit of J.Cole, a little bit of, Kendrick here and there. And it's refreshing to have that emotion in the music. It almost reminds me of how when Kid Cudi used to rap about his mental afflictions, his addictions. It's out there. It's for the people to hear because it's authentic. Yeah. And it's very appreciative.
Yeah. Definitely being vulnerable is something that's missing in the game, and I feel like
that's right.
There's a lot of stuff that is based on like I said, like an industry standard, and I try to like tune that out, because I feel like whatever I do with my music, it comes from like a real authentic place, regardless of what an industry standard is, So I try to like as an artist, I do tune out a lot of other like things going.
The glitz and glamour.
Yeah, it's also the youth today and how they're listening to hip hop as opposed to when we were listening to hip hop growing up. Yeah. And like, you know, a lot of it's trap now, right? It's all about
emo
the
rap,
the glamour, and but then there's also this emo rap too, right? Like, so there's a mixture of this glitz, glamour, this urban masculinity, in addition to now what's rising in the emo rap, and but the message and the storytelling that's what's kind of missing in the game in a bit. That's right. What do you, is that something that is that dying out, you feel, or is it like something that could come back?
I feel like everybody kind of gotta dumb down what they're saying in order for like people to understand.
It's wild.
I like that. No, I like that. Talk more about that. Yeah. Like what do you think about that? Yeah. Do you think that's the way? For example, should independents and local musicians and artists look at the industry and say, I want to make it big, I have to break down my music to fit that mold?
No.
Not at all.
I mean, a lot of artists think that way, but I feel like once you do that, like you're not making music for you no more. That's right. And I feel like as an artist, like I make music for me first. I don't really make music for anybody to like what they're hearing. I make it so it's like you feel what I'm saying if you actually take the time and listen to it. We living in a very strange time, so like
we are.
That's an understatement.
We're in a very strange time, so it's like I get all this other stuff going on. Like I get where I guess hip hop is at right now. Like I understand it because it's like there's so much that we're like masking. Like you mentioned Lil Nas X. Yeah. He recently dropped some stuff that was like super controversial and a lot of people are like talking about it.
What is this? What's happening?
But it's also like, and then you hear like his explanation and it's like, you know, I kind of like did this out of spite because, you know, I don't know, like he it's just like not being accepted in a way. Yeah. Like a lot of his message behind his last visuals and all that stuff. It was a lot of just like being spiteful of not being accepted, and it's like, yo, like I think a lot of people feel that way, which is why it was controversial. Yeah, of course. And it raises eyebrows and all that stuff. But at the same time, it's like that exists, man, and that's something that's really going on too. You know, so yeah.
It is. You know, I think it's unfortunate that, let's say if Lil Nas X first came on the scene and he dropped Montero, he would not gain the traction. He would not be as big. But him and other artists, they come in a certain way. You have the same thing with Bruno Mars. They started a certain way until they got to the point where they can make their true music, their true vision. And you know, listen, Lil Nas was right. You know, he wasn't accepted at first.
Being vulnerable and being open with who you are, it's very problematic. Like people expect you to be perfect sometimes nowadays. You know what I'm saying? People expect you to like, I don't know, because you're an artist that's like conscious and doing all this stuff. Maybe there's like all these other expectations of you and all this stuff. Or because you're an artist and you're on social media, like you're supposed to be engaging with your fans and doing all this extra shit. And I don't know, man. I try to really just keep it like music, and maybe that's like, maybe I'm looked at as like arrogant because I just put music out and I don't really like go on Instagram live or really like touch the people like I'm supposed to or whatever like that, you know. But there's a lot of things that I do in my life that people don't see too, you know what I'm saying? And I get criticized for the music that I put out sometimes. Like really, I do. Wow. Sometimes people hit me up in my DM and they're like, yo, you doing the wrong thing, like why are you doing this, that? And I tune it out. I tune it out.
I'm shocked to hear that. Ferry Point Park, you know, this place is beautiful. It's right in my backyard. A place like this, you know, how does it affect your music? Do you feel like you're calmer with your lyrics, the beats that you want?
I feel like it helps me focus, like in a general standpoint. It helps me kind of like tune out the noise. Like I was saying earlier, it helps me kind of like ground myself a lot to be able to like say like this is where I'm at and this is how I'm going to progress and continue. So, you know, it's been a part of me finding solace and being able to be productive. I come out here and it's like I reconnect with myself because I'm around like just tranquility in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like water. Like if you sit close to the water and just listen to the water, it's pretty peaceful. Yeah, you know, like.
Do you feel the same depending on the season?
Well, sometimes I'm gonna say this: seasonal depression is real.
It is.
Like I feel like cold weather and like having to be kind of confined because of the weather. Yeah, it like does something to you that makes you kind of like. You know.
So it's like now you come places like autumn, spring, summer is where like this is like wow. Like,
this is where I really come out here and spend time. Yeah, that's when I really can. Yeah, because. I mean, I've come here in the wintertime. I'm not gonna lie, I have, but it's too cold. It's too cold, you know, like it's way too cold. You can't, you can only
freeze up your bars.
Yeah, you don't freeze the bars up. Facts.
So, you know, you told us about the park. I don't know about you, because I'm feeling kind of hungry.
Yeah,
you know?
Yo,
where are we trying to go?
We go to this taco spot that I know on Lidig and White Plains. It's fire.
Oh, ahead of Cinco de Mayo? Okay.
Ahead of Cinco de Mayo.
Let's do it.
We should, perfect. It aligns, man. Let's do it. We at Lidig and White Plains in the Bronx, USA. And we had Tacos El Bronco too. You know, home of some of the best authentic tacos that you could get in the Bronx.
Yeah. Wow. So what you usually buy when you get here?
When I come here, I usually get the chicken taco. You know, sometimes if I feel up to it, I might get like a steak taco. You know, like you know, I might feel good too. They don't sell alcohol.
No beer.
You know, but it's authentic. They got the jarrito, the Mexican sodas and stuff like that.
You come here often too, right?
Yeah, I come here often. This is like a craving that I have, and I come here to eat some tacos. Whenever I crave some specific tacos, they got this like really good green sauce. Yeah, salsa verde. Yeah, with avocados and stuff. It's really good. It's really good.
Sounds good as hell.
This is street food, authentic.
This is street food, authentic.
This is classic. This is classic Bronx right here. This is like if you want to really experience the culinary food in the Bronx. Places like this is where you gotta check it out. You gotta check it out.
Come here. Definitely come here if you want some tacos and you from the Bronx. This is a spot you gotta try. It's been here for a minute.
Bronco, bro.
Let's do it.
El Bronco do. Yeah.
So I like all types of music, and I would make all types of music too. I'm an experimental hip hop artist. What I'm doing now is just very like personal, and I feel like sometimes like, you know, I've gotten to know people that literally personalize my artwork, like personalize my music or like my poetry pieces. Like if I get to know somebody as like a friend, it's happened to me countless amount of times where it's like yo, you saying this, and it's like they personalize.
They're getting triggered.
Yeah, like they get triggered.
They're internalizing what
right,
you're saying.
Exactly, and then in turn, like I guess they project these things. You know what I'm saying? And I recently went through some journey like that, and I won't go into like full details, but it's like it's the story of my life, honestly. Like
it can make people feel uncomfortable because you're being so honest and true with yourself and your music.
Right. People see you as like fake and shit like
That's
that.
right.
Yeah. Like,
and it's funny. There's a line in one of your songs. You know, you're talking about. There's two lines. There's one that you're talking about. You know, you want to be a prophet spilling knowledge, which I love. And there's no one where.
Food for thought, right?
Yeah. There's another line where you actually, and it's funny he brings this up because you reference, you know, people thinking that you're arrogant when you're in tracks, and I'm like, wow, and like I would never think that. I would never think that you're arrogant. I would think you're an up and coming artist. You know, you're making your way, you're creating your own path, but people don't like that apparently, which is a shock.
Don't know how to do the separation. Like a lot of times I talk about stuff in my music that like I help people with every single day. Like I said, like I'm a counselor at a school. Yeah. So a lot of stuff that I talk about in my music are stuff that I help people with every day, but it's also stuff that I go through every day too, or things that that I went through growing up, you know. So it's like, you know, you gotta roll with the punches when it comes to things like that. Sometimes I hear my own music and you know, I tell myself like, yo, like, you was there. Yeah. But it's also I tell myself that like you was there. Exactly. Like, especially with this project, with the personal project.
Yeah, tell us more about that.
The personal project demo is definitely like the definition of that's where I was. You know what I'm saying? And it was it's a personal project. Like everything that I say on these records, or every way that I feel on there is very personal, and it's just, that's what it is, you know. And I feel like that has to be like my introduction as far as like the first project I put out, you know. So it's just some people gonna understand it and some people not, you know, and I'm okay. Like I have at this point I have this kind of like, I think Kanye said it one time in an interview. It's like he has this delusion. It might be delusional. Like, I really just believe in my own shit. That's it. Like, I really believe in my stuff, and you know, whoever does, I don't give a shit. I'm gonna keep doing what I want to do, and I'm gonna keep expressing myself, and I really don't care about what. Like, I just
I respect that, man.
Honestly, because if I do, it's just gonna take away from what I'm doing.
So you just dropped what? You dropped a single? You dropped a music video?
I dropped. So I first dropped I Told You, which is the first single. And then I dropped a video at the same week that I dropped Running Out of Time.
It's a busy week for you.
A little. It's pretty busy, man. So right now I have the video for I Told You out, and Running Out of Time, and I Told You out on all platforms too. So
I really like the concept for the video. It reminded me of like a montage of just this is
me in my room,
which I love that.
2020.
That's what it was.
The pandemic videos.
Yo,
you know, you're working out, you're practicing, you're writing shit. I like that. It's like an advice Rocky montage. You know.
Honestly, cool. Man, I even got parts of that video that I was like, do I want to like show
too much?
I want to show my gut, like, you know what I'm saying, like, and it's just like, bro, honestly, it's like authentic. That's where I'm at, man, and like hopefully by the summertime I have a 6-pack, you know what I'm saying? Like,
you and me both.
I mean, it's right around the corner, but you know, like, I'm working on it, you know what I'm saying? And that's the point of even like the whole video, is that like I'm just working on it, and it's also like anybody else that wants to create can do that too, and that's like the main thing, is that I know a lot of artists that create, and you know, they gotta go to the studio, they gotta, you know, they need this card for this video, you know, they need to hit up this the rental plug, and it's like
all this extra shit.
Make sure the girls are in the background.
Yo, make sure they get all the girls in the video. It's like, bro, you don't need to do all of that. Like,
IG models.
You could really just be you. I represent a real thing, you know what I mean? I represent mental health awareness,
and I love that.
And I represent just like hip hop and stuff that I really like grew up listening to. And just kind of creating without boundaries, you know, and trying to inspire people without boundaries too, because one thing that is missing in the hip hop world too is just a safe space to be able to express yourself, you know? And I think what I'm doing with my music is creating like a safe space, is saying like, yo, like, yeah, I've been there, I've been depressed, I've had suicidal thoughts, like let's talk about it, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's bring it to light, you know what I'm saying? Because that's what I do with my music, you know what I'm saying? Like that, like, it's just real, you know?
It's okay to feel, and especially, you know, at some point a hyper masculine genre, you know, it's okay to feel.
That's what it is.
It's okay, you know.
So it's also, you know, man, we were growing up listening to, you know, the DMX, you know, rest in peace, God rest his soul.
But even DMX had some.
It was that tough. It was that raw. Like I'll beat the crap out of you.
But there's something different about DMX though.
Yeah, talk to me about DMX.
DMX was a very spiritual man. Like he he had like sermons in his projects, but he also was very, very, very raw about his addictions and every single thing. Like, you know, and he had tough stuff, but he also had stuff where he shed a lot of like just realness and a lot of vulnerabilities, a lot of like just the way that he felt. You know what I'm saying? That's what a lot of people respect about him too. That's why, you know, he passed away and there was so much going on.
It was an outcry.
It was an outcry. It was like he was always preaching that message, like, I ain't perfect. He was always telling people, yo, I'm not perfect. I'm not perfect. And I too need like a crutch. You know what I'm saying? Like that's something that he really like pushed out. He kind of like his popularity kind of like dwindled down, you know, with all the drugs and all this stuff. But
it's unfortunate.
What should hip hop industry and also just independent, like, what do you think we should do with artists who do have struggling with addiction, especially, you know, artists in general, but hip hop too? That it's such, you have to be strong. You have to kind of toughen up in a way to project the persona. How can we do a better job of protecting our hip hop artists today?
Like I said, I think there needs to be more safe spaces to just express yourself. Like safe spaces to just like create and express yourself.
I got a good question. Talking about hip hop in general. As we know, the Bronx is the Mecca, the birthplace. Right. And, you know, hip hop has slowly kind of left the borough in some weird way on a mainstream level. Or went overseas, you know, LA, Atlanta, Toronto. Like, where do you think can hip hop come back here? Can the Bronx run this entire industry again as it did back in the golden age, or is that just something that hip hop grew its wings?
It's advanced, it's advanced. It's advanced to the point where, like, I mean, if anything, now there's more room for everybody. Because everything is so accessible. Everything is so, like, you know, I could just go on SoundCloud and upload my music and everybody has access to hear my music. So it's like now there's like more room for everybody. But yeah, I think the most important thing to like think about is just like safe spaces in the hip hop community. Like whether like a union or something, whether like some kind of like you know, I don't know. But yeah, I think there's room for everybody.
So, you know, we spoke a little bit about your projects, the single, the music video. Show us what you got. Show us a little bit about the project.
Let's do it.
Yeah?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
All right.
Go.
Getting old, man, not a young dude. I can't follow up on old plans, cause it's old news. Gotta figure out my own plan, change my own views. They can't do it, that's not my fault, but I told you, hey, getting old, man, not a young dude. I can't follow up on old plans, cause it's old news. Gotta figure out my own plan, change my own views. They can't do it, that's not my fault, but I told you, it ain't simple to the closed minds, but I'm bold to do anything to set my mind right. I won't fold to niggas talking like they heartless. I'm too heartful. They be really feeling hopeless. I'm too hopeful. If you did me dirty lately, then I thank you. It took me long enough to think straight, so I'm grateful. Life could really throw you challenges, is how you handle it. I've been dealt with all the damages, but I'ma manage it.